We're in a catastrophic place of global warming, and each and every one of us has to do our bit. We need to think about how we're buying stuff. We need to think about the plastic waste and how you're going to recycle it. We need to think about your bigger environment, how you can reuse it and plant. And in a bigger environment, just in your garden, even if it's your balcony, practicing biodiversity is something that you should try and do.
My name is Tony Bundi. I am a Kenyan and passionate about biodiversity and sustainability in terms of conserving our environment and helping farmers do the right thing when it comes to food production.
Biodiversity is about encouraging the environment that you live in to be as prolific as possible. The benefits are that you have a very healthy garden. So having a healthy garden also leads to a very healthy lifestyle. My name is Michelle Shepherd. I do event planning and try and make everything I do sustainable. And my mission in life is to teach people to be more sustainable and to spread the gospel. We're calling it the gospel of sustainability and environmental practices.
Sustainability to me is really a way of regenerating and having this balance, symbiotic relationship of the environment between different species, animals, insects, aquatic life, and most specifically the microbiome, the soil.
So there are a few things that you can look for in a garden to see if you've got a biodiverse garden. And one of the big tells is the different kinds of insects you've got in your garden. But one of the easiest ones to look for is butterflies. We're lucky enough to have a pond, and the pond is a really good ecosystem for generating all sorts of life. And then we've got little piles of wood all around the garden, which again harbour insects and animals and creatures and reptiles, all of which work in an ecosystem that it helps us to encourage and maintain our garden. At the end of the day, why do we want that? We want to have pollinators. You know that the world is running out of food. Even in Japan and China, some of the cherries are literally hand pollinated with paintbrushes because they're running out of bees. We just can't let this happen. The more biodiversity we practice, the more biodiverse practices that we put in place, the better it is for the environment.
Really a big shame whereby we have a rising population. On the other hand, we have the reduction of food production because of how we have really ruined our soils in terms of food production. So you ask yourself, how will you sustain the growing population with good nutrient-dense food? There is no plant that will ever uptake nutrients from the soil on its own. There must be a micro-absorbent bacteria. And because nutrients appear on the ground, God created them. But the plant absorbable form, we did not learn. For the last 40 years, we have lost a third of the world's topsoil. And that is catastrophic. That is what feeds us. That's what holds your microbiome in your stomach. Maybe I'm assuming you're eating tomatoes now. And the way we've been farming, we've compromised the soil microbiome, and we have killed the bacteria that are responsible for uptake of iron or maybe potassium or phosphorus. So you will be eating tomato, yes, but without the nutrients. So why do I advocate for having our soils covered? So soil is the greatest reservoir of carbon, as you all know. And it's such a shame whereby you find all this heavy machinery ripping the ground open to do farming. Because you have been thinking about, we have to have our farms clean, and that's wrong, that's terrible. Maize used to grow in the fields without even fertilizer. We used to do manure only from the cows and composting. And we used to have these roots growing from the maize stalk. That's an indicator of healthy soil. We have a light soil. But today, with all the pumping of all those nasty things, production is low, and there is no that because our soils are dead. And then we have their soils again, no life. And then we get maize which are purely dependent on these chemicals, the GMOs. The truth be told, you realize Once you start using chemicals in your farm, your graph comes from up here, goes down like this to negative bar. And as at now, I have a lot of farmers who are complaining about their crop and their soils, that the soil is not productive anymore. And why? Is because of how they've been doing it. It's not too late. We can revise it and we can redo it again by doing the right thing.
The one thing I want to see at events space is that every event planner understands that a single-use plastic is the most destructive thing we can do in this planet. It is absolutely catastrophic to offer plastic forks, knives, spoons and plates. It's catastrophic to the environment. And balloons, I mean, it's just unbelievable what happens to a balloon. I know it's beautiful and I know kids love them, but when it pops, what happens? It doesn't degrade, it doesn't go back into the soil, it doesn't disappear. What happens is it converts into microplastics, and all of us have these microplastics in our systems already. Well, sadly, what I'm learning is how scary the real situation is, and I think that many of us have been wandering around blinkered, not understanding the pure impact of what we do and how we do it. We're very lucky in Kenya. 98% of our energy and electricity comes from sustainable power, which I think we're one of the top 10 in the world. So we got a thumbs up to Kenya for that. So our energy consumption here is really, really good. But our practices and the way we manage our transport, our plastics, all of the recycling, we just don't practice it. I mean, but if we could create an economy of some sort that was about recycling plastic and having the little people benefit, because we've got such a huge unemployed population, that the more little things we can do for some of the people that just are struggling would be fantastic.
Out of 10 people that I talk to during a session, at least 2 will see the urge and the need of doing it. And now that it makes me now go back to the young generation, the young children, aged between 5 and 15 years, and also adults, whereby I want them to have this thing of having them to know waste is not waste. You can use it in multiple ways. Like you can make biogas out of organic waste. Did you know that? So if you have 3 kilos of waste, that is enough to give you methane to cook for a household of 3 people per day. And at the end of the waste, you get this leachate, which is good for your plants. Because we have been wired to know cows are the only sources of methane gas, but they are the least producers of methane. So once you don't treat your waste from your kitchen to the landfill, you are doing more harm than good to the environment. So you have to compost it and learn the actual basic ways of doing things right. And it's not only for the soil, even for our wellness and well-being. It's all connected. So if you have ailing soil, even your gut microbiome is compromised. And without good health today, I will not be seated here, up here. So I value that over, I like the journey, I like the process, but it's not easy, I can say it's not easy. So, and the reason you see all these leaves, I like using what I have within that space, because that is what is really, really meant to be there. The microbiome is the same. So you realize we have browns, greens, and even organic waste and even manure at some point. There's a formula for making great compost. And the compost is made of 4 things. We have the browns. Those are anything dry, anything that is leaf dry. However, not all material is good for compost. So the dry is the source of carbon in the soil. And then we have the greens. That's nitrogen. That's the second thing. So anything that you see green, that's source of nitrogen. The third thing is manure. And you must make sure you know what manure you're using. I don't advocate for chicken guano or chicken manure or any bird manure because of how we have compromised their digestive and their genetics. And they also have this, we call them threadworms in livestock and human, but in the soil we call them nematodes. And they are a nightmare to many farmers. And so you use goat manure, cow manure, pig manure is good. Avoid pet manure at all cost. And then the reason I use goat a lot is because it's a slow release fertilizer. Acts like a solid fertilizer, and it's really good for compost. The manure will give me only the microbiome, the bacteria that I need to decompose the waste. And then the fourth thing is water. Water is key, water is life, and water will bring the environment that is conducive for the microbes to thrive and multiply and work on your compost, work on your dry leaves and make them the rich gold. So the whole ratio is 60% of the browns, 30% of the greens, 10% of the manure. So how you do the formulation, it comes down to you, and then the rest is water and your labor now. So, and there's a way you do your compost piles, just a basic pile. It should be 1 meter wide by 2 meters long by 1 meter high. That's so basic for you, and that is a minimum amount of compost pile that you need to hit the threshold of what you need to make good compost. So basically, like in the large-scale farmers, we have these drone satellite scanning of your soil. And it will send some signals to the servers, and then it will help me as an agronomist or a soil advocate or biologist to see certain portion of your farm is actually compromised in terms of water is not enough. Maybe you are having some infestation of some bugs or sort. I feel AI is really impacting me well, and also in terms of data and record keeping. So I feel once you do all these farm visits and you try to work with all these farmers and people, I think keeping data is very vital, and that's where technology comes in and makes it easy for everyone.
I've just done a course in AI for sustainability, and progress is weekly. I mean, it's unbelievable. The digital and technology environment is really going to help us because we can measure and predict and understand the impact of what we do every day. So that kind of thing is really, really incredible.
My success will be the day that the government will ban all use of synthetic chemicals in farming, in agriculture, and they will say, let's embark to how we used to do things.
If we don't do something drastic in the next 5 years, we will change our planet forever and never be able to change it back.